Hey guys, Shaye Baker here. We got a predicting patterns. I don't even know what episode it is. We're talking about Neenah, Wisconsin, I believe it is, which I guess is anywhere in Lake Winnebago, which I thought Winnebago was just a camper. So not a lot I know about this place, but I got a buddy that lives up in the northern part of the country. I wouldn't say he lives close to this. Everything looks close up there when I look at it, and I'll say, "You're from around the Great Lakes?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, you ever heard?" And he's like, "Man, that's 2 days drive around there." So anyway, it's a massive place. There's a lot to look at. This lake is going to be pretty interesting to break down. Not a lot's known about it, even to the anglers that are fishing it this week. So see what we can't figure out. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in Ben Nowak. Buddy of mine, I met him a while back. I actually met you through Uploaded, which is a tournament series. We started an online series, and now you're working with Monster Bass. New subscription box, try to make a better box, make it regional, and I'm doing a little bit of stuff with y'all. But tell us a little bit more about Monster Bass before we get started in this.
Yeah, so I'm actually employed by Monster Bass now, but Monster Bass is a regional subscription-based box. We have 5 different regions, and I'm up here in the Great Lakes and the Midwest region. We have the Northeast, the South, basically California, which would be the Southwest, and the Pacific Northwest. So we basically cover the entire country and try to put baits in the box that would actually make sense for the region. Like, that's something that other companies aren't really catering to, so we wanted to take it upon ourselves to cater to these different regions to give you guys the baits and the colors that you need.
Yeah, a few years ago when the first kind of concept came about having a subscription box, it was a it was a great idea, obviously, and it was neat just to see that kind of begin and develop where it was a box of baits that come every month. I mean, it's just like when I was a kid, I remember going to the Dollar Tree, and they would have a boy girl and a boy bag and a girl bag, and you would grab it. You have no idea what's in it, but it was like $1. So you're like, "Mom, I want it." So they get you a little paper sack. You have no idea, and you open it up. It's got some little toys or stuff. That's kind of what it made me think of, is like this surprise. It's kind of like getting yourself a present every month. You don't even know. But it needed to evolve, and I'm glad that Monster Bass is doing what they're doing, where now you have, I mean, you would get a popper in Michigan in December. Like, what good is that?
And that was like the biggest issue, right? Because it wasn't regionalized, and it wasn't like
seasonal,
focused for the time of the year. So you're getting baits that may or may not work, and if they don't work right away, you're probably tossing it in a box never to be seen again.
Yeah.
And this is high quality stuff you can toss in your boat, in your kayak, in your backpack right now.
And it's the same thing with the other boxes, but this too, it introduces you to new baits and it kind of forces you. Like, I remember I've seen stuff on the internet and all, and I'm like, "That's pretty cool. I might get that sometime." And I forget all about it. But if it kind of gets forced upon you, and you have to, you don't have to, but you have a much easier opportunity to try something new. I think that's the big deal too. That is cool about these subscription deals.
For sure.
For sure. Well, let's dive into Winnebago. I got the Angler app pulled up over here, and I went ahead and ran around before we got on the call and dropped some pattern points. And there's a lot of vegetation on what I have here, and then a couple marinas. I didn't mark them because there's docks everywhere around this thing. Just homeowner small docks, not like marinas, but just boat docks. And there's just, it looks like every 20 feet there's a dock on a lot of the lake, and it's a shallow fishery. Let's see if I can bounce over to Navionics. I got it pulled
I
up.
laughed that you marked a bunch of vegetation, because like when I think of this place, the largemouth I think might play, but like coming from your perspective, where you're like, "Oh, largemouth, like vegetation, shallow fishery, docks, like let's go shallow, let's catch largemouth, let's try to figure this largemouth thing out and see if it'll play."
That's what I was going to say. I came up, I used to, go around and cover BSS stuff, and I fished just a few times. And like some of the lakes that I love the look of, I didn't ever get fished, like Champlain, where there's Ticonderoga and these huge, cheese or whatever y'all call them, with grass mats and stuff. But it's just beautiful largemouth stuff, and I don't think it'll play as much as it does at Champlain, because it is a factor there, or it can be, and there's a lot of that there, but there's not near as much here. But I went to some lake. I don't even remember where it was. I was staying with Garrett Dixon. It was in New York State, and it was a small lake near their house. It was between 2 tournaments or whatever. But man, like some of that water up there, we filmed a little GoPro video, and I caught some on a frog. And I mean, they were 3-pounders. They weren't just monsters. But up there, I mean, it was a pretty good one from what I understand. Like the growth on those largemouth isn't real fast, and like it is here. But I mean,
you catch a 3-pounder, and you're doing. I mean, that's a decent fish. Like 15 pounds of largemouth is a pretty decent bag.
Just the watercolor and the vegetation and just the nastiness of it. It was so beautiful. I loved it. So I saw some places on here. Like this place, it's just nasty, man. And this place has got some of that. I'm pulling up one now. Let's see. There's one place down here on the bottom where it's just, I mean, it just looks slimy. You know, just.
So, like, I have to. I'm really interested because I have to change my mindset from thinking about a 5-fish limit to thinking major league fishing, right? Because a 5-fish limit, largemouth may not play.
Yeah.
You might catch 15 pounds, 16 pounds, be way out of it. But because of the format and the way things are laying out, and we'll get into this a little bit later, and the way things are kind of setting up, largemouth could be a really, really big factor depending on the stage that the smallmouth are in. So
the weird thing for me about this lake, as far as the largemouth go, I don't see many areas you can camp out in. Like, there's a lot of these little bitty pockets and little bitty patches of grass, but you'd have to run around. You can't run in this thing. Like, you can't bounce around. You can, but the way this deal always plays out, it seems so far with MLF, is that score tracker's going. You don't have time to run 5 minutes here, catch a couple, run 10 minutes over here. You need to have an area, it seems like, where you can camp. And that's what we saw at like Kissimmee and some of those places where you can just get in this big field, and there's not a lot of that. There's a couple of creeks and there's one place on here that's got like a little canal system. And, you know, you might be able to get back in there. It's kind of like a subdivision. Right. See if I can get it to come up here.
So my perspective on that is you just turn that trolling motor on 6 or whatever it is on your trolling motor, basically in the middle. You get going and you just fish a line of docks, or you fish shoreline, right? Like those largemouth, especially up north, yeah, you can find them offshore in that offshore grass, especially post spawners, but they also get on the docks. Like if you get any sort of sun, those fish are on the docks, and you can almost call your shot. Like it'll get to the point where if it doesn't get too pressured, you just run down a line of docks and you just start catching fish. Like pound them to death. It doesn't matter. Take a wacky rig.
There's a
like
lot
Jake
of docks.
Brosnick could do amazing there with that stupid wacky chopstick. You know.
There's a lot of docks in this place too. So like I said, if it's going to be a really good lake to pattern, it seems like if you do between the docks or I don't know. I mean, you know more about the smallmouth stuff, but what I've seen from videos and watching these guys and stuff, if you get on the right shoal or whatever out there, and you just wreck them. But I don't know. I mean, you're kind of the same. And
so here's my perspective. I just went out to a largemouth fishery yesterday, and our fish are post spawn. So when I say our fish, I'm saying the largemouth are post spawn.
Okay.
In the way I'm thinking about Winnebago, I've never been there. I think the north end is going to be most predominantly smallmouth. You're going to have some of it on the west side where you have all those shoals and the reefs and all the rock and all of the contours and points. So the north and west are going to be predominantly smallmouth, and the south is going to be largemouth. The south is going to warm up a lot faster. I know it's not like Champlain where it's, 70 miles long, but it's still going to play where those fish are going to be post-spawn on the south end. That north end, those smallmouth are still going to be getting up on beds, right? So you're going to have a mix of basically the entire spawn cycle.
Yeah. Fry garters, I mean, as far as the docks and stuff like we were talking about, that could be a huge deal with a bunch of fish. If they had a great spawn, a week or two ago or something like that. I wonder if it's going to be like right after the main push, or like what stage they're going to be in.
So the smallmouth, I was kind of looking latitude line and like lakes that compare. If you guys go on my Instagram, I just caught a fish that weighed 5 pounds. Well, that was a pre-spawn smallmouth, approximately the same latitude line, the day before the full moon. Huh. Okay, the full moon was last Saturday.
But she was like getting ready.
So, dude, those fish are going to be spawning. Just that big push just happened.
Yeah. Huh.
That's my thought. But the problem is, are you going to want to sit there? Now, I know smallmouth are a little different. You can catch them a lot faster off bed. But are you going to want to sit there and go try and catch fish off beds?
Yeah. So smallmouth on beds, do you have to be looking at them, or can you get on like an area and just fish for them, kind of like you do spots down here where you know they're on bed, but you're not bed fishing per se?
You can a little bit to an extent, like throw a hair jig around or like swim a Ned rig around. But the deal is, like, smallmouth are so stupid, and northern smallmouth in particular are like insanely stupid, to the point where you see them, like, you drop your bait in the bed and you like pull the boat off, and like then your bait's swimming away and you set the hook and you catch it. It's not like it's that hard. The problem is like having the time to do it.
Yeah. What do you just fish and see some and then do something? Or, I mean, like with largemouth fishing when they're spawning, like you can just go down the bank fishing and then you might run across it better. Can you get out there with a jerk bait or anything else and just fish and then I'll just see one on bait and catch it and then go again?
Oh yeah, dude. I would take a jerk bait. I would take a swim bait or something. Cover those big spawning areas, areas where I know fish are spawning, and swim that thing around. And then if you see one on the bed, like flip a net or go over to it. Okay. So you can do that. I think it might play, and that's kind of the big if factor. Like if they're on beds, it's gonna go off. And you're gonna see, even if a guy catches 10 fish on beds, 10 5-pound smallmouth, 10 4-pound smallmouth, that's 40 pounds, dude.
Yeah. It's gonna be like, I don't know anything about this place. I don't know what kind of weights it puts out. I do know when I was looking around, there's a lot of nice boat ramps. Like, it's a well-fished fishery because there's some massive boat ramps. They're well maintained, you can tell. And I was telling you a little bit about this a minute ago, right before we got on this call. I'm going to show y'all something that, as far as this show is called Predicting Patterns. I mean, it's kind of what we do when we go tournament fishing. We're just talking about somebody else's tournament. But a big tool has always been Google Earth. And this thing, man, they have 3D. You know, I've gone and looked at the 3D tours of New York City or whatever, something like that. But they've got 3D of this lake. And I don't know if they're doing this with drones or what, but there's like, I got it pulled up. You got to check this out later, Ben. I got it pulled up, and there's like these creeks where in the past you'll see a road going across a body of water, and you're like, I don't know if that's a culvert or pipe or a legit bridge, and if you could even get in there. This is a tool right here for me, because I'm a shallow water guy. I like to find those hidey holes, and I mean, it's like a video game. It looks like the graphics aren't great. You know, the trees kind of look weird and all, but the fact that you can get on here and basically fly around this lake and look at these bridges and see if you can get under them or not, or get a better idea. You know, it's not like a pipe this big around, you know.
Yeah, you know it's not like a tube, but you know it could be like a bridge. And maybe you can get it under there.
One of the things I've always done before is look for boat lanes or boats in the satellite imagery, because then you can tell, or boat docks behind a bridge. Because most of the time somebody's not going to put a boat dock in and only be able to fish a little hole, right? They're going to want to be able to access water or whatever. They're going to go ahead and put a whole dock in. But this thing here, man, it's wild. So, and mentioning that while I got it pulled up, just to see that you can probably get back to here, which I got a couple of kayaks pulled up their boat dock, but looks like a couple of pontoon boats or something too. So there's some of these little creeks and ditches and stuff on this lake that you are going to be able to get way back in, and there's just mats of nastiness everywhere. Now, this could have been taken in August, you know, and it's more grass or something, I don't know. But there's a good, the dog's getting fired up over there.
Oh, they're going crazy, dude.
But anyway, I was pretty excited when I found that earlier about the 3D deal. So
yeah. So here's a question, because I don't have the Google Earth pulled up. I've not looked at it. Does the water look pretty clean?
Yeah, the water. When I was like, if you go to Google Earth and just look at 2D or whatever, and then a few places, and there's some imagery too on the Angler app, but there was one place where it's pretty clear satellite image. And like you can just see where along the shorelines, it looks like it's just where repetitive waves have kind of made grooves in sand or something, like it should.
Okay, so that's a big player, and it's going to be interesting to see how many of these guys figure it out. Like, these are the best in the world, but there's this stuff up here called marl. Okay, so you have sand, and then it transitions to what's called marl. It's essentially like a small growth off the bottom, Well, it makes that bottom heat up a lot faster, and that's where the smallmouth are going to bed.
Huh.
Well, they can bed in that all the way up to like 15 feet, right? Like as deep as sunlight's getting, they can bed out to it. Huh. So that lake that I was talking about prior, one of the big patterns out there is you go look for these like dark lines in the sand, and fish use them as highways. Fish use them as like, think of it as a hard grass edge that largemouth travel along. Well, smallmouth will travel along that dark line and use it as a highway. And if that's what it is, like if it's clear water and it's a glacial body of water with marl, which it looks like it is, I think you're going to see guys that are going to find fish on those edges, and they'll go to town on a jerk bait. They'll go to town on a swim bait. And they'll find those fish that will travel along that stuff and just stage and kind of get ready to spawn on.
Those fish are so weird, man, up there. Like, I have not done, and I read something earlier that Van Dam said about this week, and he's like, I feel like I got an advantage just because I know northern smallmouth and it's second nature to me, and these fish are weird. And they are. I was up there with Zaldane, and we went and did a little video and fished, I don't even remember which lake, it was one of the Great Lakes, and he was talking about the importance of those little rock lines, the veins and stuff. And I mean, we're looking at it, and there's not, like, you can't, which you probably can with Panoptics and stuff, you know, as good as you are at it, but to me, looking at the sonar, like, I couldn't even see, it would be like 6 inches probably of a difference. Yeah. And there's like a vein of rock, but if you look over the side of the boat, it's 15 foot deep, but it's clear enough you could see the vein, you know? But as far as like finding it with your electronics, it would have been really, really hard. And he's like, they follow these veins and they relate to this stuff. I'm like, dude, it's not. I've heard boulders. Like, okay, put a Volkswagen down there. I'm sure it will relate to that. But that's like, you know, a line in the gravel. And dude, they were.
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't, like, seen it firsthand. Because I've always heard, like, okay, find the dark spots in the sand. That's where the smallmouth are at. Find the dark lines. Find the dark areas. Dude, these smallmouth will relate to it as if it's a hard piece of structure. Like, they will not go so in the middle of it. They'll stay on the edge of it, find like a little turn in it, and that's where they'll make their bed. It's so weird to me because it's probably the same exact depth.
Yeah.
Like, if we were to go over it, it'll be 4-5, 4-5, 4-5, 4-5. Will never change. But it's a dark bottom transition that those fish get on. Think of like chunk rock to pea gravel, right? Like, that's a big thing for largemouth. Well, this is the northern version.
Yeah, bottom transition. Composition and color transition are two different things. Still, I can't, like, it makes sense, but I'm like, nah, man. Like, why wouldn't you just go out there? You got a tournament coming up. Take you a bag of black sand and pull your line out and say, I'm gonna come back. I'm right here tomorrow. You know, it's just it's wild. But I pulled up. I found it because I mentioned it a while ago. But there's one of the little areas with canals in it, and like I said, there's just not many of these places that are very big as far as the largemouth deal goes, and it looks like there's more of it on that west side, like you were talking about, than the east side, and there's more pockets kind of on the west side of the lake. They kind of look like saw teeth on some of these, like right through here. And there's a lot, like I said, I have some, you can't see it, but they can. I got a bunch of places marked with little green vegetation symbols on the Angler app, and so you might be able to bounce around some of these places. And there are one or two places where there's a reasonable amount of water in one of these backwaters down here. And you could get back in here maybe and stay a while. But the problem is, I mean, if 5 of these guys are looking for that kind of stuff, or there's 80, if 20 or 25 of them are looking for that kind of stuff, 5 of them are going to end up in this one reasonable sized place and be beating up on it together. So
that's a big thing too. So the way the lake lays out with the glacial body of water, you can almost count out most of the middle section of the lake, right? Like, most of your structure and most of your cover is going to be, if you're looking at Navionics, it's going to be that blue water that shows up.
Yeah.
I need that white stuff, that 19 foot, is probably sand. It's a lot like Mille Lacs, where all the guys get positioned in the same areas because there's not a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna, even with the 40 guys each day, it's gonna fish small, dude.
Yeah. I don't think there's a Fox River that either feeds into it or it goes out of. I don't know if that's allowable, but like I'll go back to just because this is like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna go back to the Google Earth deal.
There is a chain, like it's part of a chain, but I'm not sure if they're allowed to fish the chain or only Winnebago.
I know they've stressed Winnebago a bunch, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna cut it off at the mouth. But I'm back on the 3D deal now, and they've got it where, dude, you can like fly up this river and see all these bridges. Because I was wondering, you can see bridges, and I was like, I wonder if one of these is a dam, and it's got it where you can't get through. But you can like, it looks like the graphics on the old Bassmaster Elite Series shows, or even now, where they go bird's eye view and they're like diving in to find somebody or whatever. I can basically do that with my fingertip right now. I can.
Shaye now taking over the new Bassmaster job of creating the flying graphics.
Like Predicting Patterns has the graphics of a 1990s Bassmaster episode. But anyway, so I doubt they can get into that, but it's pretty cool. Like that river, I'll be interested. So even if they can't go past, like there's 5 or 10 bridges. If they say you can't go past the first bridge, it's Highway 31 bridge or whatever. Would you still focus or check out the mouth of that river with that little bit of current?
I wouldn't touch anything but smallmouth. And that's not just me, but I really don't think there's enough southern guys there. They're going to focus on largemouth. You're going to have 4 or 5 of the 40 guys beating up on them. It's not going to last.
Yeah, no.
So you're going to get these guys that didn't figure out the smallmouth deal that go catch largemouth because they need to catch something, but it won't be like the top 20 or largemouth fishermen.
And
it'll be like 1 out of them.
These guys, especially in this format, because I've talked to a few of them, and they know, like, don't set the hook in practice. If you can get bit, it's good enough. It's got to be over a pound. Don't even set the hook in practice. We're not looking for a concentration of big ones. So, but even then, they're going to beat up on them some in practice. They're going to at least condition them to boats and condition them to baits and stuff. It's not going to be as easy as it is day one of practice, But what I was talking about this river, the mouth of it, I wonder if there's current. Does current matter to those lakes up there, smallmouth wise?
Oh yeah, that'll be a big player. So if there's current, I mean, it'll definitely position those fish. But like most of those fish, I think most of those fish are going to be spawning or like right around the beds.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be looking to chase a jerkbait. Like you might find a little jerkbait bite going, but I think it's going to be slow, low, throw that Ned rig and just hold on for 1 pounders. 1 pounder to 4 pound smallmouth.
So let's pull up the weather right quick up there just to see, because like you're talking about the temps, and I'm sure the water temp and everything's setting up perfect for the spawn. And it's basically like it is down here. It's 50 to 70 whenever it's time. Not right now. It's miserable down here right now. But like when we're around the spawn, it's kind of the same. Looks like the same weather trends. I'm trying to pull up here.
Now the other big thing too is going to be rainfall. So you can't really account for it, but all the water it's really high and it's all been really cool for a lot longer. So those fish that haven't spawned are going to be fat, really fat.
So they've been forced to kind of wait it out.
Yeah, they just keep sitting there and they're just in a holding pattern and they're like, well, I got to eat some more. So everything up here is a month behind. Like 3 weeks to a month behind where it should be.
The weather channel is letting me down right now. So what I'm going to do is, instead of looking at the future view, we got live weather radar on the Angler app. And I think I pulled it up earlier. Like there was a little bit of rain south of Winnebago. But for the most part right now, it's got to play. And it looks like there's some on the southern end of Lake Michigan. But what's cool about the Angler app is you can pull up the wind map, and that's such a big deal for y'all up there. And I don't know, it's probably not going to play as much as it would on it's not going to I can't fish today because it's so bad, but because the lake's not as big as Michigan or whatever, but it's got to matter.
It's not going to be fun though. Like the way that the lake lays out, if you get a south or a southwest or a north wind, that thing is not going to be fun. Like, you're going to really have to pay attention to what you're doing, because if you have beds on the west side and you get an east wind, you're not going to see them.
Yeah, and right now there's a wind out of the east blowing to the west, and it's 11 and 13 mile an hour based on the 2 stations that you can read there. And I mean, 11 miles an hour, if it's consistent, that's pretty stout,
Yeah, like. And that's a big lake. So it's a big, wide open lake.
Yeah, there's nothing to slow it down. And I mean, with them shallow, like that lake's pretty shallow, 20 foot, or less for most of it. Y'all's waves stack pretty, like they get pretty big on that
rough,
flat.
Dude. I mean, it will not be fun if you're fishing the west side of the lake.
Well, what's cool too about the new update is it's got the current wind, but it's also got where you can get a 72-hour wind forecast now, which is still not going to get us quite there, but it's going to get us closer. I got this pulled up now, and basically from white, there's a scale up at the top of it, from white to it's calm to Category 5 hurricane on the far right, and it's like pink and purple, but it looks like it's light blue to green, which you can't see, but I'm assuming that's going to be. I mean, right now it's green, is what it's saying, and we just looked at it. It's 11 mile an hour, so it's kind of going. It looks like it's going 5 to 10, 5 to 10. It doesn't like to do anything crazy. There's some yellow in there, which is, I guess, a little more, but.
I'm really excited about this event, dude, because it's really going to be interesting how these smallmouth, largemouth deals are going to play. Because if it's like a Champlain where largemouth and smallmouth will really have the potential to play, like I think smallmouth on Champlain will play way more than largemouth. Like just in general, if you did this in the middle of the summer, you can catch more smallmouth faster than you can largemouth, but you can catch bigger largemouth. You can smallmouth. You know what I mean?
I think because the lake is going to fish small, and the way this format is, where a guy gets a little bit of weight built up and he bails on his best stuff, I'll bet the winner does some of both, and he capitalizes on probably some easy largemouth early, or when he doesn't need to beat up on his smallmouth, he runs and catches fish he knows other people could catch easily and tries to beat up on that instead of I don't know if you can really run around, because what happens too with these, you only have 2 days of practice. This lake's unknown, so I could see a guy, even if he gets a little bit of a lead, just kind of going out and practicing, trying to find more of the smallmouth stuff. But again, it's going to fish small, so a lot of the best stuff's going to get found in 2 days by 80 guys. So I don't know. I'll bet you, even if it's not really because he's being aggressive and trying to build, I bet you we'll see some of these guys in the lead fish smallmouth and largemouth, just mix it up, make sure. Because again, in 2 days you can't rule it out. I don't think I don't think these guys can go in there and say largemouth don't matter. You know what I mean?
Right.
They'll probably mess around with it.
It'll be interesting too to just see I don't know, overall weights.
Yeah. I
want to see who's gonna really make that decision they want to go catch smallmouth. I mean, there's not been one of these smallmouth, even a question sort of tournaments yet. I guess on Lake of the Ozarks maybe a little bit, but not predominantly.
Yeah, I mean it was at Table Rock. There were a few guys catching them, but it was mixed in. Like they were actually mentioning how it went from the first one. I did an interview with Lefebvre about it. From the first time they went to Table Rock to the second time, it was 50-50 largemouth and spots the first time because the spawn was still going on. And the second time it was like 70-30 or 80-20 to the spot side. He never even brought up smallmouth. But I mean, they were catching one mixed in here and there. But this is the first time we've seen anything like this for this deal. I mean, they've done the regular Major League fishing stuff, but for the Bass Pro Tour, it's the first time we've seen a legit smallmouth slugfest, where you I mean, what's you go out and fish a lot, and you fish a lot of the better lakes up there, but I think this lake's going to be pretty good. It's probably a sleeper. What's the average smallmouth when you're out there catch? You catch a lot of 1.5, 2 pounders.
I think a good average smallmouth would be 3 pounds, 2.5, 3 pounds.
Yeah, and that adds up quick, especially if you're talking about catching largemouth. You catch some 1 pounders, 1 pounder. Even if you're catching a bunch of them, you're gonna get buried. If they get on a smallmouth.
Because a big largemouth is going to be 5.5, 6 pounds. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, a big smallmouth is going to be 5.5, 6 pounds.
Yeah.
So you're not going to make up ground if you go catch a largemouth.
Yeah.
And the potential for a big smallmouth is definitely there.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited. I'm a smallmouth nut, so this is exciting.
Yeah, the home runs are going to be about the same on either species. But you're going to get a lot more triples and doubles with the smallmouth than you are with the largemouth. You're going to lay down a lot of singles and bunts and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see. But I appreciate it, Ben. Had a good time talking about this one. It is going to be interesting to watch. It's a wild card.
Thanks for having me on, man. It's been fun talking fishing.
All right, bro. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
I'll talk to you later. See you.
Bye. That wraps it up. I appreciate y'all watching. Check back in next time and see if we can't have us a good time watching this one this week with the Bass Pro Tour. Major League Fishing's headed to Lake Winnebago. See y'all.